Alright guys, we are less than 1 week away from training camp, and I think we have a few training camp battles in our hand here. With the Lakers making a few new additions and adding some new viability to the rotation, there might be some room for some minutes to go up and down, and for JJ Redick to make a few changes. So we're going to talk about the likely battles that could be had throughout training camp. No, maybe not for a starting spot, I mean potentially, but more so simply for some minutes to either go to one player over another player, and how that might pan out throughout training camp and throughout the entire regular season. So we're going to talk about that and go through a few training camp battles during today's video. And well, without further ado, I think one battle to take a look at and one battle to keep in mind throughout training camp likely will be between Gabe Vincent and Dalton Knecht, likely for the 10th and final rotation spot. Given that the Lakers run a 10-man rotation, reports seem to think that they might, and pointing to the Lakers rotation, I think it would make sense. Though there definitely might be some games where they run a 9 or possibly even an 8-man rotation, and other games where they might run a 10 or even an 11-man rotation. But again, I think for that kind of consistent last spot in the rotation, a battle might be had here between Gabe Vincent and Dalton Knecht. Two very different players and two very different skill sets. Vincent kind of being a 3-and-D guard, hopefully can be that and has been that at times for their team and definitely in the past for teams like the Miami Heat, but he also has been very inconsistent. The same can be said for Dalton Knecht, coming off a rookie season to where he showed plenty of highs but also plenty of lows, even falling out of the rotation entirely during the latter part of the regular season, not being a part of their playoff rotation, and therefore many believe that he won't be a part of their regular rotation entering the regular season. However, I think a strong training camp and showing that he has been making improvement, especially on defense, could definitely change that for Dalton Knecht. I mean, coming off a rookie season of averaging 9.1 points per game, 2.8 rebounds per game, shooting nearly 38% from 3 on over 2 made 3-point shots per game, definitely showing plenty of offensive upside, athletic ability upside, ability to play with ball-dominant players and attract attention away from them. That's something you'd like to have in your rotation, but you simply can't if he can't at least make a decent impact on defense. And well, for Dalton Knecht, that definitely was not the case last season. Per defensive EPM rating as the 8th worst defender in the entire NBA last season, posting a negative 2.3 defensive EPM, which definitely dragged down his overall metrics and impact stats in the court, having a negative 2.2 EPM, even with his offensive ability and 3-point shooting, only posted a plus 0.1 value over replacement rating. And well, that right there is the argument for Gabe Vincent to get playing time over him, and likely claim that last rotation spot over Dalton Knecht too. I mean, simply put, he's maybe not the most consistent player on the court, but he is definitely more consistent than Dalton Knecht, especially on defense. Per defensive BPM rating, posting a plus 0.4 rating last season, that to go along with a 35.3% mark from the 3-point line. Not great, and definitely not as good compared to Knecht, or what Knecht could become for that fact, but he's simply more consistent defensively, is more reliable defensively, and actually makes an impact to where Dalton Knecht actually hurts their defense most of the time. And well, for a team like the Lakers that rated 17th on defense last season, they're definitely trying to show improvement, adding guys like Marcus Smart to show that they want improvement, and especially in their backcourt. I think that's the argument for Gabe Vincent to get more playing time. If Dalton Knecht can improve that, and that's what he has to show throughout training camp, that's kind of what it comes down to here in my opinion. If he can't show improvement, and if he can't show to be more of a two-way player for them, then the role is going to go to Gabe Vincent. No other way around it. Doesn't matter about the offensive upside, the 3-point shooting ability, and what the guy can do offensively, if he can at least kind of help them defensively, or at least not hurt them. So if you want in my opinion, that's what it comes down to here between these two. No, it doesn't matter that Dalton Knecht had the better numbers per se last season, doesn't matter that he has more upside or is the more intriguing prospect and player in the rotation. It simply comes down to consistency and what they can offer on really both ends of the court, but more of a priority on defense here. And at this point, Gabe Vincent would appear to be the more reliable option for them. Though apart from that rotation battle, I think another one and another borderline rotation battle might come between Jackson Hayes and Maxi Kleber. Kleber currently projecting to be on the outside looking in, definitely more of a matchup dependent guy for them at this point, rather than a guy that likely will be in there every game for them and every game for their rotation. But if he can show that he can get back to what he once was, get back to being effective on both ends of the court, unlike last season where he was pretty bad on both ends of the court, I mean, defensively okay per usual, but offensively having the worst year of his entire career. shooting only 38.5% from the field, 28.5% from 3, having a paltry 48.9% true shooting percentage. Then on top of that, only playing 34 games, so really can't be a reliable option if he can't stay on the court and really can't offer anything offensively. But again, if he can get back to what he once was or somewhere pretty close to it, being the great running mate that he has been with Luka Doncic for nearly a decade at this point, or at least over half a decade, then he might be able to find his way into the rotation, and possibly at the expense of Jackson Hayes, who, although is coming off a pretty good year for himself, I mean during the regular season, unfortunately did have some fall off and complete fall off out of the rotation during the postseason. But if you're talking about post-trade deadline, he did play very well for their team, averaging over 7 points per game, over 5 rebounds per game, roughly 1 block per game, shooting a team high 72.2% for their team, also a team high true shooting percentage at 72%, all around was impactful and even on both ends of the court, posting a plus 1.3 defensive EPM rating. That compared to Maxi Kleber, who posted a plus 0.4 rating, having a value over replacement rating of plus 0.5, compared to Kleber, who had one of negative 0.3. So the numbers definitely point to Hayes here, but I think there is more upside with Maxi Kleber, and definitely more versatility to be had here with him too. And well, if he can show that throughout training camp, which he definitely does appear to be in good shape and going through his own little mini body transformation, kind of like Luka Doncic, then maybe he might draw the attention of JJ Redick. After all, they are former teammates back on the Mavericks, and I think Redick would like the 3-point shooting, the floor spacing, defensive switchability, and overall versatility that Kleber could offer their team. I think Redick wouldn't be afraid to go with him over Jackson Hayes, not even in a matchup dependent kind of thing, but potentially in the rotation entirely. Though it comes down to health, viability, and reliability here with Maxi Kleber. I mean, he really might have the biggest range on their entire team, not only in regard to rotation spot and minutes per game outlook, but about if he can't stay healthy and can't even be a reliable option for them, then he very likely will be traded. After all, he does have an expiring contract that they simply can't let go to waste. If he's not giving them production and if he can't stay on the court, then they're gonna trade that expiring contract for a player who can, or at least they're gonna try to. So that's really the outlook here with Maxi Kleber. Definitely a pretty big range for him. Could be on the outside looking in of the rotation, could climb into the rotation and possibly over a guy like Jackson Hayes, or if he gets hurt or can't show production, then he very likely will be traded. But then moving on to a third rotation battle, this one being more of a long-term battle rather than simply a training camp one in my opinion. I'm talking about a battle between Rui Hachimura and Jake Laravia. No, I'm not saying that Laravia will be replacing Hachimura in the starting lineup. I mean, maybe from a long-term standpoint and possibly going into next season, then maybe. I'm simply talking about a minutes battle, possibly a closing lineup battle, and how Jake Laravia might be able to slowly take away minutes from Rui Hachimura and possibly even become more valuable in that kind of small forward role for their team. I mean, if we're talking about the role that they would like Hachimura to be able to fill, that would be a kind of big 3-and-D wing role, a guy that can take on fairly difficult matchups on defense while doing the stuff that he actually does do offensively, whether it be the points per game at roughly 12 to 14 points per game, the 3-point shooting, led their team in 3-point efficiency last season. You know, I'd like for him to take a few more per game, but even now it's still pretty good. And overall, the impact that he does make on offense, they're happy with that, but they would like more defensively from him. And that's where a guy like Jake Laravia comes in. Unlike Hachimura, that's very limited defensively, best matched up with a big kind of power forward guy that's not very quick on the court, isn't good at keeping up with guards and navigating screens on defense, simply can't do it and isn't something they should be doing on the court. Laravia actually can do that. Now, I'm not saying he's a perfect defender, isn't a lockdown kind of screen navigator kind of guy, somebody like a Marcus Smart for example, or a Jared Vanderbilt, but he does have more upside compared to Hachimura. Pointing to their defensive BPM rating last season, Laravia posting a plus 1.1 rating, while Hachimura posted a negative 0.6 rating, and that definitely affected Hachimura's overall impact metrics, having a negative 0.7 box plus minus rating, while Laravia posted a plus 0.2 rating, also having a plus 0.8 value over replacement rating, while Hachimura had only a plus 0.6 value over replacement rating. So if we're talking about simply impact and advanced stats here, they do prefer Jake Laravia. And again, it really does come down to his versatility, making an impact not only offensively, kind of like Hachimura, but also defensively, something that Hachimura doesn't do very much of. And well, if that doesn't change over time, and maybe if the rotation doesn't change to benefit Hachimura, then I wouldn't be shocked to see Jake Laravia take some playing time away from him, possibly finishing a game over Hachimura here and there, maybe in the long term again starting over him, and maybe that's a long term outlook here between them. But I think it might start throughout training camp. If Laravia can make an impact, if he can show to be more versatile than Hachimura, then he might get some more playing time. Not overall playing time, but simply taking a minute or two away from Hachimura. I think at the bare minimum, Hachimura will be locked into a 26 to up to maybe a 32 minute per game kind of role for their team, but slowly but surely, if he can't make more of a two-way impact, and at the same time Laravia is making a two-way impact, then maybe Laravia takes some minutes away from him. So definitely something to watch out for here in my opinion. That might start as early as training camp. And overall, I think those are some of the biggest training camp battles to watch out for. More so of the direct one-on-one training camp battles. Definitely you can make an argument for some bigger battles that might determine some minutes and overall rotation time between different guys. I mean, you can make an argument for one between Rui Hachimura, Jared Vanderbilt, Marcus Smart, and Jake Laravia, how that could play out and who makes the biggest impact in training camp. You know, you can make an argument for that, or maybe some minor battle between Adu Thero and maybe Gabe Vincent as well. But I think the training camp battles of Gabe Vincent and Dalton Knecht, Jackson Hayes and Maxi Kleber, and Jake Laravia and Rui Hachimura might be the biggest one-on-one battles to watch out for. Though those are only my thoughts, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What training camp battles are you watching out for? How do you think they'll play out, and how do you think that might determine the overall rotation? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But I think that'll pretty much do it for this one. And if you enjoyed the video, then I'll greatly appreciate it if you drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day or night.